Today I wanted to talk about the importance of rest, and I feel like everyone overlooks this at some point. You know, when you stay up too late at night, whether it's working too much out at the gym, whether it's studying too much and overwhelming yourself to the point of burnout, we all get this habit of overworking ourselves sometimes, but sometimes the best thing is to purposely take that rest and purposely take that break that you deserve and you need. Just like how in the physical example of muscles, we know that your muscles need a rest. It forces us to rest. And the same can be applied to our emotions and our mindset. You know, it'll force us eventually to rest. It'll make us so we pass out. It'll make us so we burst out crying one day if we don't give ourselves that time to rest. We can break down, we can have panic attacks and stuff like that, you know. It's necessary to take those rests before it happens. This modern life of hustle culture it's making us become so overworked. It's that rush of constantly, hey, it's the hustle, man. I'm trying to be the best I can be. But in reality, to achieve that, you need to take those breaks, actually. If you look at any type of profession, whether it's gaming, whether it's sports, whether it's chess, no matter what person you choose to look at in a professional, when the pros are going crazy and they're competing at very high levels, you'll see their routine. It is necessary for them to take breaks, and they're very particular. They're very particular with their craft, and they understand the need for a break and the need for resting. And if you notice this, that when it comes to the time that they take a break from professional playing and they're waiting for their next games, they don't always practice basketball. Sometimes to keep up that exercise and to keep the physique that they have in sports, they often actually go to another sport. They end up learning boxing, or they end up learning a sport that they're not comfortable in. And it's because they change it up, but they rest from their natural state of going into that work environment. You know, of course they enjoy it, but they need to change it up where they rest, and they also change it up from time to time. We're human beings. We're not robots that can just be recharged with electricity and then, hey, let's go back. Let's just lube up the parts and get back to the work. No, that's not how it works. It's a lot more complicated than that. It's not just food and water. We need mental breaks. We need cool off time. That's why if you look at it, why, at least hopefully if you have the ability to have breaks at work where it's necessary to take those breaks, is because, man, of course, if jobs were able to not give you breaks, they would 100%, man. Of course they would make it so you won't take breaks. But it's necessary, because we all know that we will just break down and people will complain and people will fight for those breaks. Breaks give you that time to check in with your mental state, to check in and review your work, to check in and rest. Not only is resting it's not all about just resetting and restoring your energy. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to think about what you just did, and it gives you that mental clarity for the next time you go into something of work or spending your energy in something. And another thing I want to talk about rest is, that's why I'm bringing up this idea of that you need to rest and you need to take time out of your day to purposefully rest. Because I'm not talking about the rest that you break down because you've been working so much. That is not rest. Rest is not breaking down. Rest is not having a panic attack. Rest is not, being so tired that you pass out. That's not rest. That is surviving. That is a different type of an energy saver. It's like your phone goes from 1% to 0%. You literally have to purposely wait until you have at least 10%, at least 15% to go back to normal again. You need to be able to recharge frequently, so you're not going to get to that point of powering off, of just shutting off completely from the world and breaking down from all that energy that you've been taking from your day constantly. No matter what you do, your body will eventually force you to take that break, but it's about you controlling that idea of purposely taking breaks, so you don't get to the point where breaks are just this breaking down point and non-enjoyable. Breaks are supposed to be enjoyable, where you do those things, you do things that you love as well. You do things that it'll make you feel better. Just, it feels weird, but purposely forcing yourself to do nothing is so hard for people. I feel like when they do, they can't sit with just silence. They have to constantly do something. That's why we distract ourselves with scrolling through reels or thing, and we can't, and then we end up not feeling like we had a break because our mind is like so ADHD. We just try to fill our day and constantly and try to move on to the next job. It's sad. It really is sad. You need to be able to take that rest. I feel like a lot of people don't like it because they feel like they're doing nothing. They feel like they're not making progress, but that's literally a part of the cycle. It's a part of the cycle is you know, even in the natural forced, you know, necessities. When you wake up, you eat, you sleep. That sleep is rest, and you need to force yourself to take mental rest where you rest and you take a breather. I want to leave you with that, and I want you to take it seriously, because eventually there will be a day where you feel like your light will go out and you will feel like you don't want to take it anymore. You don't want to keep going, but it doesn't have to be that way. Make sure that you're there for yourself. Make sure that you take that rest so you're ready to come back and you're ready to keep on fighting. Thank you for today. And remember, take that break, because you don't have to keep burning yourself out like that. You don't have to keep hustling. It doesn't have to be like that. Thank you. See you in the next one.